My name's Chad Rose. I am here with Seth Nickerson, my friend and the leader of our SEO team. And we are going to talk to you today about the secrets of SEO, including Google's scary Core Web Vitals update and some other great things. So let's get going. So Seth, I have a question. With SEO and stuff, how often does Google change their search algorithm?
They make changes every day. Some days they make multiple changes in a day. Just to give you an idea of the scale of it, last year they made over 4,200 changes. So that's easily a dozen changes every day.
Do they do that to mess with us? I mean, what's the deal?
They're looking at a couple different things. So they're always interested in trying to improve results based on user experience. So the more data they collect from people, the more they're going to make changes to the results. And don't think of it so much as what pages rank, but it's also the display of the results. So things like answer boxes, people also ask, those are things that Google gleaned from user behavior.
So they're constantly tweaking it. And do they usually tell people when they make these changes?
No, not on a day-to-day basis. The ones that they are going to let us know about are the big ones. And so for example, the page experience update that happened really recently, they've been announcing that for more than a year.
So that means it's a really big deal.
Yeah, it means that if you're not paying attention to it, they give you plenty of time to get ahead of it. And if you don't take that seriously, you can see your site's visibility decline if you don't pay attention to it.
So that's rolled out now. When did that roll out? Was it like August or something?
Yeah, August.
Okay. And what's the purpose behind it? I mean, what does Google want to work better with Core Web Vitals? Why are they doing it? And why did they warn everybody so far in advance?
So with Core Web Vitals, what they're wanting to do is they want to improve the experience you or I have when we're browsing the web, going to different sites. It affects things like the way pages load. It affects if you've ever loaded a website on your phone and you go to click on a link and the page shifts and you end up clicking on something else, that's layout shift. So they're trying to improve the experience that everyone has when they're browsing the web. I do think it's twofold though, because the other thing Google's looking at is they're always interested in ways to improve their search results. And they do that through being able to crawl and index sites as easily as possible. So if a site's easier for users to use and interact with, it stands to reason it'd be easier for Google to crawl and index. It's also designed to keep people, I think it's designed to keep people on search results pages longer. So if Google's crawl is more efficient, they can gain more data from a crawl, and then they can use that to further enhance the search results.
Got it. So it's to enhance search results, make it easier for people. So are there certain things marketers need to look out for to make sure their site does those Core Web Vital things?
Yeah, so there's actually a set of 3 criteria. It's the loading of a page, it's the interactivity, and it's the layout shifts is a better way to call it.
Isn't that content like something contentful something or other?
So
contentful something?
Yeah.
Is that a new word? Contentful? Did they make that up?
That's misleading. So if you look at Google's Core Web Vital report that you can use in a browser, there's actually 4 metrics they display. They display first contentful paint, largest contentful paint, first input delay, and then cumulative layout shift. I always struggle saying that. So first contentful paint is when you're waiting for a browser to load, and it's the very first thing you see, signals that, okay, there's content coming into the browser, lets the user know the page is loading. Largest contentful paint is usually that piece of content that takes the longest time to load. So a lot of times it's the header image that loads on a page. Sometimes it's the first block of text. Maybe it's heavily styled or designed to look a certain way. Sometimes that takes longer to load. That's that's one of the elements. First input delay, that's more things tied to server response. So things, if you've got a lot of scripts and things on your website, scripts and styles that are complex, that can slow down a page. And layout shift is just obvious to us.
Jumping around.
Yeah, very frustrating experience.
So I'm a marketer, right? I'm not an SEO expert at all. And I have to talk to my SEO person. Is there a tool or something I can use to check? I heard something called like a tool or a plugin for Google called Lighthouse. Is that useful? I mean, what is that? Can that help? Is that like SEO for dummies? Like if I'm trying to personally figure it out, can I use that?
Yeah, Lighthouse is cool because it will give you a report that outlines everything that is available to fix on your page. For marketers, when I'm talking to marketers, the biggest thing I have to explain to them is because it's listed on the report doesn't always mean it's easy to fix.
Mm-hmm.
So marketer has to work with developers to figure out, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Developer, what's the easiest thing on this report to fix? What do you think is going to have the most impact for these different areas related to Core Web Vitals? The challenge with Lighthouse is that you can only look at it a page at a time.
Ah, okay. Okay. Well, is there so it's like the homepage. You want to figure out how your homepage is doing.
Right.
So once you figure out what's wrong with that homepage, I mean, are there other tools that you can use that'll do the whole website?
Yeah, there's actually a bunch. We've got a few here that we use internally. Some of them actually use Google's PageSpeed API that will give us all those Core Web Vital metrics at the page level. There's other tools, and all these tools that I'm talking about, anybody out there can go and purchase or download a trial version of it and try it out. There's some other tools that we've just started to use that provide even better examples of what you need to fix when you're downloading it. So we'll give you a score. A score is it's this weird score. Good, needs improvement, or fails. And for some of them, it's just
sounds like when I went to school.
Yeah, I'll take a passing grade anytime.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So that's the goal. Is you want to earn a passing grade for some of these things, but that's also very subjective, right? So what is Google looking at? So some of these tools tell us specifically what data a developer would need to fix to get a passing grade.
So it has to be a developer, because I don't know much about SEO. But if I got a passing, or what, needs to improve, if I got a needs to improve, can I get in there and fiddle around with it and make it better?
Depends on the level of access you have to a website, and I mean, honestly, how complex the issue is you're trying to fix. So if it's a WordPress website, there's plugins that you can use that will fix some of these things. If you're more of an enterprise level business, like a large global retailer, for example, you probably want to have somebody else that really knows the ins and outs of how sites put together and coded to make those fixes for you.
Yeah, so that's not me.
The cool thing about working with an agency is that we sort of balance both sides of that. We see it from the marketer's perspective. We can talk the talk with the developers and help them figure out what needs to be fixed. I think it's good for brands to have that sort of partner, establish that relationship, because we can actually help prioritize some of those things.
Be another set of eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I know people can't really see the forest for the trees, to
right.
Use a pun. So Seth, tell me, what else does Google have in store or have up their sleeve? Any hints for we marketers that we're going to have to deal with?
If I had a crystal ball, I would know the answer to that question. Just shooting from the hip, I think Google's going to be doing a lot more with page experience. And I would expect them to get more involved in using artificial intelligence to answer search queries. So they released an algorithm update earlier this year, I believe it was May, called MUM. And MUM is to put it in layman's terms, it's a MUM like short for mummy.
Oh, MUM. Okay, I thought you said mom. Okay.
So it's a natural language processor, and what it does is it takes like your search query and thinks about it in terms like a broad manner. So the example they gave was, instead of right now, a searcher has to ask a series of questions to get a really robust answer. But in the future with MUM, and what they're trying to do is that you could answer in a really complex search query, and it's going to give you a much broader set of data into search results. So say if you said, and the example Google gives is, I've climbed Mount Adams, what do I need to do to prepare for Mount Fuji? And so it's going to give you all these things, comparison between Mount Adams and Mount Fuji, equipment you would need that's maybe different for Fuji than Adams, all these things.
So instead of having like a list of Mount Fuji compared to Mount Adams where you have like 10 of them and it just keeps going the O's, it's going to give you an assortment.
Yeah, it'd be like a blended thing. And that's actually, they do some experimentation with this right now. If you do something like recipe ideas for Thanksgiving, you might get a result that is an English scroll type of experience, where they show books, they show videos,
Right.
show images, just a much more engaging searching experience than what we have today. So I expect more from artificial intelligence in search results.
Mum's the word. Mum. Okay, cool. So do we have any resources that can help people learn more about Core Web Vitals or search or the things you should, link building, things like that?
Yeah, I think the Investis Digital website plug
Shameless plug.
is a cool thing. We've actually got a really good web blog post on-page experience. It was written originally when the update was rolled out last year. It's been obvious it's a work in progress, the update, but the blog post has been updated to reflect more of the changes that we've seen. It's a really good resource in terms of all of the things we do, link development, all the other channels we offer, SEO, paid search, content marketing. The website's a great resource. As always, we're here to help. If you have any questions or want to know about Core Web Vitals, please reach out to us.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll see you all later, and if you have any questions, just reach out to us. We're happy to chat.